I don't blame you not wanting to stand beside me either.
No, I just...
All right, okay. We all set? Everybody good?
I am.
Okay.
Do it.
Senator Diamond, I'll start with you since you're close. What do you think of what you heard?
I think it was a very good beginning. I think the process, the court obviously is going to get this thing straight. And they'll help us all get the clarity we need. And I think probably, although I think it is pretty clear, I think it's time for them to step in, and I'm looking forward to their decision.
You clearly have a point of view in this.
I clearly have a point of view, but I'm not a Supreme Court justice. But from my point of view, I think there's 195 years of precedent, and I think we have a lot to go on. The legislature always adjourns the way we did this time. We always extend, usually, and I think that all is going to be probably played out.
Did you read into the questioning at all as to which way they were leaning?
I always try to do that, but I think the court's very good at not tipping their hand. But you know, you look for that sort of thing. I didn't really notice the courts having any previous opinion prior to their question.
Representative Sirocki, let's move over to you. Your thoughts from what you heard. Obviously, the arguments are somewhat familiar to you at this point.
They are, yes. I thought that the justices did a really fair job of firing questions evenly at both sides. They interrogated pretty intensively, and I'm really curious to see what the decision will be.
How much is at stake, particularly for House Republicans in this?
I think it's just nice to have the clarity. I think obviously we had a different view and agreed with the governor that with the 3-day extension, but at the end of the day, this opinion from the court will really be helpful.
And Representative Timberlake, I guess we ask you, hang on just a second here, I've got to reposition.
Yeah,
let's get the same basic thing.
Yes, I think it was a very interesting discussion as you sit there for the first time in front of this court. You hear the first go round and you say, wow, that didn't look good for us, and then you hear them do the other side, and then you say, well, that was treated equally. They was both abused equally. So I think that part came out. It's very interesting to see what the justices come out, because I had a strong feeling in this case that we need to deal with these vetoes, so the people of the state of Maine go through the process. I think that's the cleanest and best process that we go through at this point in time, so that we deal with them. It's not going to cost us a lot of money to do that, and everybody's treated fairly, and hopefully the court will put down law in the future that states exactly how this has to fall out in the future, and the people of the state of Maine get represented the way they should at the end of the day here.
It is costing money, it's costing time, and there's all these 65 court bills in the balance. Anybody have an opinion on the taxpayer money being spent on fighting something that a lot of people say didn't need to be fought?
I guess that would be another debate, wouldn't it? You know, whether it needs to be fought or not. I think it needed to be fought because those 65 vetoes, not all of them are going to get sustained, but there are some that would get sustained. And I think it's important that the ones that should get sustained, and the process moves forward so the people of the state of Maine get represented. You know, we didn't have to go through the process. The Speaker and the President could have very clearly pulled us back in and said, we'll deal with these vetoes, and we wouldn't have had to spend the money on the lawyers and so forth in the state of Maine. The House Republicans, you know, we're having to out-fundraise to hire our lawyer, so, you know, it's not costing the taxpayers money with ours, but it is costing the taxpayers of the state of Maine.
But the governor intended certainly to veto probably all of these bills. He could have done that in 9 days and stopped this whole thing from snowballing.
Could have, should have, and would have are two different things, actually.
Except I would say this: we've had 195 years, and who knows how many administrations that have worked under the existing rules and guidelines and precedent. And I think the concerns we have now were raised. I'm not sure they were needed to be raised. I think things went very, very well in the past, have been going very well. The legislature's been pretty much consistent in how they have operated over the past several decades, and so I'm a little concerned or questioning why all of a sudden all of that time and all that precedent really wasn't working.
And Representative Timberlake or Sirocki, I know that House Republicans were not consulted by the governor before going down this road to begin with. Were you folks unhappy that he took this course?
I can't say that I was unhappy, and I can't say that I was really unsurprised. the legislature had treated the line item vetoes in a manner that was completely unacceptable in my mind, and I can see why the governor was upset and wanted to slow the process down so that we would give full consideration to these vetoes instead of going through them auctioneer style.
I think, and I think Representative Sirocki brings up a very good point there, that the governor, this process of vetoing and running through them and just running them under the hammer and doing the majority votes on the pockets and not putting anybody on record, I think his theory was that nobody was taking this quite as seriously as he would like to think that they was taking it, and so he wanted to slow the process down, make everybody sit back, relax, take a breath, and then come back and visit this, and hopefully in a much more slow process.
If I could add, I would like to add to that maybe the reason the legislature didn't take it as serious, those line item vetoes, is because the reason he stated in the newspaper for doing that was to waste the legislator's time. So I think when that's the preliminary comment coming from the governor, I think you have to be concerned about how sincere were those line item vetoes. I mean, I think that was somewhat concerning.
That being said, does two wrongs make a right? You know, we should still take what he does seriously, and it's our job to take the law that was passed to us, review it, take a vote on it, and take it seriously in what we do.
And I think legislators did take it seriously, every one of those line items, and I think that's why we all read them, looked at them prior to making the vote. But again, when the stage is set the way it was, it really just seemed like it was in retaliation.
And I would respectfully disagree. I don't think that we looked at those line items very carefully at all, and I take strong exception to some of the items that were line item, and we should have sustained those vetoes, and I think that taxpayers were not served well.
Well, regardless of how this comes out, or let me ask you, does the decision by the court, whichever way it goes, is that going to affect how you folks all deal with things when you go back in January? Can you make a maybe fresh start is not realistic, but can you pick up and move on?
The Bible says that we forgive and forget and we move on, and I believe in that, and I will always try to work with that, because we're here, every one of us, Republican, Democrat, Independent, to work for the people of Maine, and every one of us, I believe, are doing what they feel is right in their heart, and I don't ever question anybody's integrity or judgment in that.
Well, and let me agree 100%. I think that our job is to work as Republicans and Democrats and get jobs to the people of the state of Maine and do all those things we do. And I think clearly we did that this past time. Maybe in an unprecedented manner we worked together. So I expect that to happen next year.
All right.
At least the three of you can stand together.
Yeah, you're all going to the diner up here.